Wife claimed I had erectile dysfunction to escape marriage. Now they want a flat. So I got a medical report and threw it in her family's face. Hey everyone. I feel like my entire world is crumbling, and I don't know how to find my way out of this mess. I'm a 26-year-old man, and in December 2023, I got married to a 25-year-old woman through an arranged marriage. In the beginning, everything seemed perfect. We clicked almost instantly despite it being an arranged marriage, finding compatibility in our conversations, laughter, and shared moments. I genuinely thought I had found a life partner with whom I could build a future. But then came June 2024, and my perfect world started falling apart. One morning, out of the blue, she asked me for $5,000. Without a second thought, I gave her the money, trusting her completely. A couple of days later, she asked for money again. This time, I hesitated and gently asked why she needed it. What happened next blindsided me. She burst into tears, crying uncontrollably. I tried to console her, but she pushed me away and locked herself in the bathroom. I begged her to come out, but there was only silence. Panicking, I called my brother and father for help. As soon as they arrived, she unlocked the door but didn't say a word. My mother, concerned, kept asking what was wrong, but I brushed it off, wanting to avoid any family drama. I told everyone it was nothing and rushed to work, even though my mind was in shambles. At lunch, I tried calling her, but she didn't pick up. I figured she was upset about the money, so I planned a surprise movie date for the evening. But before I could leave the office, my mother called with news that shook me to my core. My wife had called her father to pick her up and left our house. When I asked my mother what happened, she hesitated before telling me that my wife accused me of not wanting a sexual relationship with her, claimed that I had erectile dysfunction, and even mentioned that I slept on the floor. My wife said these things in front of both my parents and her father. Hearing this, her father decided to take her home. My parents tried to reason with them, but it escalated into a full-blown argument. I called my wife immediately, desperate for an explanation, but she had blocked me on every platform. On my way home, sitting in the metro, I broke down in tears. Why was she accusing me of things that weren't true? What had I done to deserve this? By September, my family and I had enough. My parents, relatives, and I went to her home to resolve things. What happened there was a nightmare. She unleashed a tirade of abuse against my parents, accusing them of marrying her off to someone defective. She repeatedly said I had problems and needed medical help, that I wasn't a real man. Her words were like knives, cutting into me. My uncle tried to calm the situation, but the insults kept pouring. I couldn't take it anymore. I left the house and wandered the streets for hours, not knowing where I was going. My brother eventually found me after I had walked over 5 kilometers. Everyone else had left her house by then. The argument unresolved. Now her family is demanding that my father buy a flat under my wife's name, where my wife and I can live separately. They've threatened to involve the whole society if we don't comply. Despite all this, I no longer love her. I can't even stand the thought of being in the same room as her. She has destroyed my peace of mind. People mock me openly, calling me names like gay, Namard, and worse. I feel trapped. I don't want to live with her. I don't understand why she married me in the first place or what she wants from me. All I know is that she has ruined my life. I need my peace back, and the only way forward seems to be ending this marriage. P.S. I don't have any issues with my health, including anything related to sex. I am completely fine, fit, healthy, and capable. This was an arranged marriage. We come from very different financial backgrounds. My family owns 4 flats in Delhi NCR and runs a successful factory business in Palwal, Haryana. Her family lives in a rented house in Delhi, and she isn't well educated. Having failed her 12th exams, she said it was because her grandmother passed away, and she couldn't focus on studies. Update: Hey everyone. First of all, thank you to everyone who took the time to read my post, share your advice, and even just offer a kind word. It felt like, for the first time in months, I wasn't entirely alone in this. I read through every comment and message, and while some advice was hard to swallow, it gave me a perspective I desperately needed. It's been a few months since I wrote that post, and though the pain hasn't vanished, I feel like I've made progress. I wanted to update you all on what's happened since, and how I've been navigating this nightmare. After weeks of enduring the humiliation and accusations, I decided to put an end to this one lie that had haunted me the most: the claim that I had erectile dysfunction. I knew it wasn't true, and I was done letting them weaponize this baseless insult to tarnish my reputation. I booked an appointment with a specialist at a reputed clinic. Sitting in the waiting room, my hands were trembling. Not because I was scared of the results, but because I couldn't believe my life had come to this. I had to prove my masculinity, something that shouldn't even be questioned in the first place. The doctor was professional and thorough, walking me through a series of tests. A week later, I received the report. It was crystal clear. I had no issues whatsoever. Physically, I was perfectly fine. Holding that report in my hands, I felt a surge of emotions: relief, validation, and a simmering anger that had been building up for months. This was the proof I needed, and I wasn't going to stay silent anymore. I decided to confront her family again, but this time with the medical report in hand. My parents, though hesitant, stood by me. We arranged a meeting at their home, and I walked in with a calmness that surprised even me. Her father started the meeting with his usual condescending tone, reiterating how they felt cheated by this marriage and how their daughter deserved better. My wife sat silently, refusing to meet my gaze. Before they could say anything more, I placed the medical report on the table and slid it toward them. "This," I said, my voice steady, "is a certified medical report that proves I do not have erectile dysfunction. Every word your daughter has been spreading about me is a lie. I'm not here to debate or explain anything further. This is the truth, and it's non-negotiable." Her father's face flushed red as he read the report. Her mother tried to stammer something about how their daughter must have misunderstood, but I cut her off. Misunderstood? No, she lied. She lied to humiliate me and destroy my reputation, and you all encouraged it. This ends now. My wife finally looked up, her expression a mixture of shock and shame. "I didn't mean," she started, but I wasn't interested in her excuses. "You meant every word," I snapped. "You've dragged my name through the mud, made me a laughingstock, and broken every ounce of trust I had in you. There's no coming back from this." The room fell silent. For the first time, they didn't have a response. The weight of the truth was too heavy to deny. With the medical report as undeniable proof, I took the next step: filing for divorce. It was the hardest decision I've ever made, but also the most necessary. My family and I refused to entertain any more of their manipulative demands, including their absurd insistence that my father buy us a separate flat. Despite the overwhelming evidence, her family tried to spin the narrative in their favor, spreading rumors about me and continuing their baseless accusations. But this time, I had both the legal system and the truth on my side. Slowly but surely, their lies began to crumble. The public humiliation hasn't gone away entirely. People still whisper behind my back, and the mockery hasn't completely stopped. But I've realized that I can't control what others think of me. I can only control how I respond. Surprisingly, the confrontation with her family brought some peace into my life. It felt like a burden had been lifted, like I was no longer shackled by their lies. My wife has since then tried to reach out through mutual acquaintances, claiming she wants to talk things out, but I've made it clear through my lawyer that I want no direct contact with her. As I wait for the divorce to be finalized, I feel a sense of closure creeping in. It's not complete yet, but I'm starting to see the light at the end of this long, dark tunnel. My focus now is on building a future where I'm no longer defined by this chapter of my life. To anyone going through a similar struggle, you are stronger than you realize. Trust yourself, fight for the truth, and take control of your life. It's a long road, but I promise it's worth it. Thank you all again for all your support and advice. I wouldn't have made it this far without you guys.